We're continuing in Megilat Esther, Perek Zayin, Pasuk Zayin. And we're up to in the story where Esther tells Achashverosh at the Seudah, it's this wicked man Haman that wants to kill me and wants to kill my nation. And right after, the Pasuk tells us, Ve'amelech kam b'chamato, the king Achashverosh, he's in a rage, and he stands up, mimishtei hayayin, from the feast, El Ginat Habitan, and he goes out to the courtyard. We actually learn from here, says the Gemara, that when a person gets angry, automatically go outside to air out. They didn't teach us in Morocco, but whatever. Anyway, so the Haman, yeah. But it says that when you get angry, go outside, air out. And we're going to see, look at what happened. The Haman, meanwhile, what's going on inside? Now it's just Haman and Esther there. The Haman Ahmad levakesh al nafsho. He stands up to really ask for his own soul, tries to plead to Esther. And what does he try pleading? What we said the other day, that he says, I didn't know that it was your nation. I didn't know that it was your nation. He tries pleading that. Me Esther HaMalka, from Esther the queen. Ki ra'a, because he saw, ki chalta elav hara'a met hamelech. He saw that he was finished in the eyes of the king. He said, I can't go back to the king. The king's so upset at me. And as Rashi says, hatred and retribution is going to come back to me from the king. I have no chance with the king. Let me try with the queen to try. So the Gaon Vilna points out over here, he says, number one, is that there's a midrash that says that when Achashverosh goes outside to air out, what happened at that moment? He goes outside to air out, and he's looking at his garden, and he sees workers cutting down the trees of his garden and like destroying the garden. And he says, what are you guys doing? And he says, Haman told us to do it. It's private garden. He goes outside to see his garden, and he sees these workers chopping down trees. He says, what are you guys doing? And they say, Haman told me. And really the Midrash says it was Malachim doing this to keep the rage. Like what do you mean Haman told? What are you doing? You destroy my garden. He's going out to air out, and he's getting even more enraged. And the Gaon Vilna says something interesting here. He says that this is all midah keneged midah. As we know, that's the way Hashem works, is tit for tat, and an eye for an eye, so to speak. And he says, Haman lied. Haman lied and said how bad the Jews are, etc. And he wanted us to get killed. So too, in a certain way, there was an element of lie here, because Hashem brought these angels to cut down these trees and to say, Haman told us. And so too we find with the Egyptians. The Egyptians, they lie by saying, the Egyptians lied, and therefore there was a lie that was done back to them. They lied by telling the people to throw the firstborns into the Nile and kill the Jews. And then what happens? At the time, still, when we weren't under the subjugation of the Egyptians, there were courts. So the Jews would come to court and say, hey, that person threw my baby in the Nile. And they would say, bring proof. And they wouldn't reveal that they actually were the ones to give the command. And so too, Paro tells the midwives, when you see a baby boy, kill them. And what should you say? Oh, the baby was a stillborn. Lie. So Paro started with lies, and there was also lies done back to Paro. That what? That they said, we're just going to borrow the gold and silver, and they never gave it back. Or we're just going to leave for 3 days, and we're not going to come back. So even though it looks not straight, what is Hashem's commanding them? Take gold and silver and don't bring it back? Or just say we're going for 3 days and don't come back? It was done this way. You guys lied, you're getting lies in return. And so too by Lavan. Lavan kept on lying to Yaakov and switching the maskoret, switching the salary between him and his son-in-law Yaakov. Work for this amount, etc., different lies. And therefore what happened was, he got lies in return where Yaakov, number one, just fled. And number two is that the animals produced exactly what Lavan thought. Lavan thought the spotted ones are going to produce. So okay, you take the striped ones. Striped ones started producing. Then he switched. He's like, give me the striped ones. You take the spotted ones. Then the spotted ones started producing. So that was a way of midah keneged midah back to Lavan. Let's do one more pasuk. Ve'amelech, Sunday, we got some time. Ve'amelech shav miginat habitan. Exactly. The king comes back now from the courtyard. El bet mishtei hayayin. He comes back to the party. Haman nofel al hamita. And what happens? Haman is falling on the bed. Where's the bed? Why is there a bed here? They used to sit lying down when they were eating their feast. Asher Esther alea. He sees Haman falling onto her. Vayomer HaMelech. And the king says, unbelievable line, Hagam lichbosh et malka yimi babayit. You also want to take my wife in my house? Hadavar yatsa mipi HaMelech. The words came out of the king's mouth. Ufnei Haman chafu. And the face of Haman became very embarrassed. So he walks back into the room. Haman wants to try to plead his case to Esther. And now, as Rashi says, the Malach pushes Haman on Esther. And now Achashverosh walks in, wow, you want to take my wife also? So, also this word, nofel, is present tense. It's not nafal. It wasn't that he fell once. It was nofel, meaning he fell, he tried getting up. The Malach kept on pushing him, keeping him down, right? So that he would always be like falling, so to speak. He was there, fell there. The Gaon of Vilna has a different shot. It doesn't mean taking my wife and trying to do bad things with her, but rather lichvosh means to capture, to kill my wife. Are you trying to kill my wife and I'm here in the house? Not to go illicit relations with her, but to kill. That's what the Gaon of Vilna explains. And of course, Haman is now totally embarrassed, and we know he lost everything. We're going to see tomorrow what's next, the real downfall of the hanging of Haman and the hanging of all of our enemies. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Chananya ben Akashya אומר יצא הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את יספיר אחיו בעלם תורתו שנאמר אדוני חפץ למען צדקו הגדיל תורה וידיר